Chapter 7. There was still a few trains running from Posen, and Ruth, Edek, Bronia, and Jan managed to get on one. It was full of refugees and on its way to Berlin. They were in on the open trucks, which was cold but not so crowded. I don't like riding in this truck, said Bronia. We're lucky to be here at all, Ruth told her. Hundreds of people were left behind at Posen, and they may have to wait for weeks. Edek doctors wanted to see him back to the ward camp, said Jan. He said he wanted to make Edek fat, like Bronia, like a chicken for Christmas. Ruth looked at her brother. His face was white and very thin. He was 16 now, and it was 2.5 years since she last see him. But he did not look like the Edek she seemed to remember. She looked at Jan. He had helped her with Bronia and kept his kindness to himself after Gypsy death, but she was not sure that he felt comfortable with Edek. Jan may get jealous of Edek, thought Ruth. Her fear seems to come true later when the people in the open truck began to tell of their adventures and their escapes from the Nazis. After several other stories, Edek told this. I was taken to work on a farm near Goben, he said. I tried to run away, but they always caught me. Until last winter, when the war began to turn against the Nazis, I hid under a train, holding on with my arms and legs, and managed to get back to Poland. Jan gave a crow laugh. Why don't you travel that way here? Then the rest of us will have more room. I could never do that again, said Edek. No, said Jan, looking at the Edek's thin arms. And you didn't do it before. There's no room to lie under a train, and there's nothing to hold on to. Edek pulled Jan to his feet. Have you ever looked under a train? He describes the underside of a train in accurate detail, and everyone expects Jan to believe him. Why wouldn't you shake off? Said Jan wanted to know. Because the train went through some water, and it began to freeze on me, said Edek. As soon as I became a piece of ice frozen to the bottom of the train. Later I hear Polish voice and knew that we're out of Germany. My voice was the only part of me that wasn't frozen. So I shouted for help. The station master came and broke the ice and carried me out under the train. It took 2 hours for the ice to disappear. Later, when all was quiet and refugees lay in sleep under the cold stars, Ruth whispered to Edek. Was it really true? Yes, it was true, he said. She took his hand and held it to the knees. Nothing like must never happen to you again, she said. 9 days later, at the end of May, the train reached Berlin. Some of the refugees immediately disappeared into dusty ruins of the city. Others waited with their lunches, hoping that somebody would give them food or tell them where to go. But there was the second refuge train that day, and there was not enough food for everybody. But the children were happy. They left the station laughing and shouting on their way to a refuge camp not far away. Only a week ago, they had been in Warsaw. 10 days ago, Edek had been missing. But now they were all together and a third of the way to Switzerland. The camp was an old empty cinema. It was warm, dry and comfortable, and there was food to eat. After four blows of soup each, the children were given blankets and mattress and taken to a corner of the hall where they found a place to sleep. but comfortable thought it was. The camp was to be their home for only a few weeks. Switzerland is still a long way away. Ruth reminded the others, "We must go on. Take the Potsdam road and follow your noses." The family were told, and off they went singing happy song. Russia's soldiers marched past them. The lines of women and girls in gray uniforms. These were followed by hundreds of carts pulled by horses. Next day, the children went across the country towards Bitterfield and Hal, a British officer, and giving them some money for food. But this was gone, and they had to find work to get more. This was difficult because the factories were closed and farmers were using the freed prisoners of war. Some villages refused to let the children enter because there was no more food left or place to stay for refugees. One camp had a school for Polish children. If they remained there, the children were told they would receive all the food and schooling and medicine they need. Edek was very tired when they arrived, and Ruth was ready to stay for as long they need to rest. But Edek felt better after a few days, and one look at the silver sword was enough to make him want to go to Switzerland. So they came to the edge of Russia's home in the first day of peace after the war ended. There were many places where it was quite easy to move unnoticed from other zone to another. The children did this somewhere in the Tunghia forest. It was only the different uniforms of the soldiers and the strange words on the signs that told them they were now in America's home.